What would you do if three countries decided to attack you at the same time? Not one enemy, not two, three nuclear-armed neighbors, all coordinating, all striking, all betting that you would break. That is the question India has been quietly preparing to answer for decades. And the world, most of it anyway, had no idea. See, there's a version of India that the global media loves to talk about. The crowded streets, the billion-dollar weddings, the cricket matches, the Bollywood films. That India is real, that India is beautiful. But there is another India, one that the cameras don't find, one that exists in secret facilities buried deep in the Thar Desert, on mountaintops where the air is too thin to breathe, in the silent bellies of warships cutting through the Arabian Sea at midnight. That India doesn't wait, that India doesn't watch, that India builds. And when Pakistan decided to test it, in April 2025, in the bloody aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack, it found out exactly what India had been assembling in the shadows for 30 years. 100 drones launched at Indian soil, ballistic missiles, swarm rockets, cyber attacks numbering in the millions. Not a single one of them mattered. How? That is what this documentary is going to answer. Because what happened in those few nights was not luck. It was not a bluff. It was not improvisation. It was the result of decades of quiet, determined, sometimes heartbreaking preparation, forged in the fires of wars nobody wanted, sanctions that tried to strangle a nation, and a simple iron belief that India would never again be caught off guard. India does not sit and watch. India prepares, India builds. And when the moment comes, India strikes back. This is the story of 10 pieces of Indian Army technology that changed everything. But before we dive in, if you enjoy content like this, hit subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. On May 8, 2025, Pakistan launched a massive attack on India. 3 waves, one after another. Wave 1, mortar bombs on Indian border villages. Real homes, real sleeping families. Wave 2, dozens of drones were launched across the border, and most were intercepted before reaching their targets. None got through. Wave 3, huge rockets and ballistic missiles, the most powerful weapons Pakistan could fire. The result? Total failure. Not a single Pakistani weapon hit an Indian military target. The entire attack, which would have destroyed a smaller country, was stopped completely. How? One system, the S-400. Think of India's sky protection like the walls around a fort. Most countries have 1 or 2 walls. India has 4. Wall 1 stops drones and nearby missiles up to 140 kilometers away. Wall 2 destroys fast jets and medium-range missiles within 120 kilometers. Wall 3 reaches out 250 kilometers. Nothing can even get close. Wall 4, the most powerful, 400 kilometers. Enemy pilots get shot down before they even realize they've entered Indian airspace. Nearly 9 out of every 10 missiles fired by this system hit their target. While the S-400 was destroying Pakistan's attack from the sky, India's own Brahmos missiles were hitting Pakistani military bases at the same time. 10 to 12 bases destroyed in one night. Pakistan realized the S-400 was the reason they were losing, so they tried to find it and destroy it. But here's the thing. The S-400 moves. It doesn't sit in one fixed place. By the time Pakistan located it, it had already shifted position and had already shot down the very planes Pakistan sent to find it. On top of the S-400, India also had 2 more systems protecting its sky. Israeli Barak 8 missiles below it, and India's own Akash missiles below that. Pakistan planned their attack thinking India had 1 wall. India had 5. Modern wars are not won only with missiles and jets. They are won in space, in signals, in communication. Cut in military's communications, and even the most powerful army goes blind. Pakistan understood this. So alongside its physical attacks, Pakistan launched over 1.5 million cyber attacks on Indian military and government systems. 1.5 million. Only 150 succeeded. Less than 0.01%. One big reason for this? A satellite most people have never heard of, GSAT-7, nicknamed Rukmini, launched in 2013, built entirely for the Indian Navy, cost 950 crore rupees. Rukmini is the nervous system of India's entire naval operation. Every major warship, including both aircraft carriers, destroyers, and submarines deep underwater, all connected through this one satellite. Encrypted, secure. Nobody outside can intercept it. During the cyber attacks, Pakistan managed to disrupt some of India's normal radio communications. In any other navy, that would have caused serious problems. But because every ship was connected through Rukmini, India's navy kept functioning perfectly. The disruption barely mattered. Rukmini covers 2,000 nautical miles of the Indian Ocean. It connects up to 70 warships and 80 aircraft, all at the same time, with zero lag. And India is already building the next more powerful version, because Rukmini won the invisible war, before most people even knew there was one. There is a year that every Indian military strategist carries with them like a wound. Kargil. Pakistani soldiers, disguised as militants, had crossed the line of control and occupied high-altitude positions overlooking the critical Srinagar-Leh highway. They had done it quietly in winter while the world was distracted. A shepherd discovered them. India confirmed the infiltration, and then began one of the most brutal, painful, high-altitude conflicts since the Second World War. 500 Indian soldiers were martyred, men who climbed mountains with rifles and determination, fighting gravity and frostbite and bullets simultaneously, refusing to let the highway, the lifeline of Ladakh, fall to enemy hands. But the lesson India took from Kargil was not just about mountain warfare. It was about something bigger, something that had been a vulnerability for decades. What if, the next time, the enemy didn't send soldiers? What if they sent missiles? The ballistic missile defense shield was India's answer to that question. Initiated in 1999, developed quietly over the following 2 decades, it represents something remarkable. A system designed to catch missiles in mid-flight and destroy them before they reach Indian soil. Mid-air catch and kill. Like a goalkeeper so fast and so accurate that no shot can ever reach the net. The shield operates on 2 levels. The first, Prithvi Air Defense, or PAD, handles missiles that enter at high altitude. We're talking about 50 to 80 kilometers above the Earth's surface. At those heights, the interception happens so high up that even if the destroyed missile fragments fall, they fall harmlessly far from any target. PAD travels at Mach 5, 5 times the speed of sound, to reach these intercepts. The second level, Advanced Air Defense, or AAD, handles the lower altitude threats. Missiles that come in fast and flat, trying to sneak under the high-altitude radar. AAD intercepts at 15 to 30 kilometers altitude, traveling at Mach 4.5. Together, Phase 1 of the BMD shield can handle any incoming missile with a range of up to 2,000 kilometers. That covers essentially every missile in Pakistan's arsenal. Phase 2, still awaiting final deployment approval, will extend that coverage to handle threats from up to 5,000 kilometers away. When Phase 2 goes fully live over Delhi and Mumbai, 2 of the most important cities on Earth will sit beneath one of the most sophisticated missile defense umbrellas ever constructed. The world knows about America's THAAD system. It knows about Israel's Arrow program. What it doesn't fully appreciate yet is that India has quietly built something that stands proudly alongside both of them. Imagine being able to see 400 kilometers in every direction, not from a tower, not from a satellite, from an aircraft that's moving, that's flying, that can be repositioned anywhere in the theater of operations within hours. That is what India's AWACS system does. Airborne Warning and Control System. In plainer language, a flying command center with radar vision that tracks fighter jets, cruise missiles, and drones simultaneously from hundreds of kilometers away, before any of those threats can get close enough to be dangerous. During Operation Sindoor, AWACS didn't just provide surveillance. It coordinated strikes. It fed targeting data to India's missile systems. It was the eye through which India saw the battlefield and made its decisions. And India made a pointed statement about the importance of these systems when it struck Pakistan's Ballari Air Base near Karachi with 4 consecutive Brahmos missiles. The fourth missile, specifically targeted, destroyed a hangar. Inside that hangar was Pakistan's own AWACS system. Pakistan lost its eye. India kept its eye open. India's AWACS units cost 513 crore rupees for just two. 6 units would run to approximately 20,000 crore. Expensive, enormously valuable. And, during the specific critical hours of Operation Sindoor, arguably one of the decisive advantages India held. Because in modern warfare, information is not just power. Information is the difference between a missile finding its target and a missile wasted in empty air. In June 2020, while the whole world was fighting COVID, China made a calculated move. It pushed into Indian border territory in the Himalayas, thinking India was too distracted to respond. Then came Galwan Valley. No guns. Both sides had agreed to that. But Chinese soldiers came with iron rods, barbed wire, and nail-studded clubs. They attacked Indian soldiers in the dark, in a freezing river valley. 20 Indian soldiers were killed that night. India had to respond. But there was a problem. At 15 to 18,000 feet in the Himalayas, normal military power simply doesn't work well. Helicopters get weaker, engines struggle, even moving supplies becomes a nightmare. Fighting a war at that height is completely different from fighting anywhere else. But India already had the perfect weapon for exactly this situation, the Apache helicopter. 22 of them, bought from America and delivered just in time, almost as if destiny planned it. The Apache is not for carrying soldiers or supplies. It is a flying tank. It carries a chain gun that destroys armored vehicles, rockets, and up to 16 Hellfire missiles per aircraft. Missiles that can hit tanks and bunkers from so far away that the Apache itself stays completely safe. Its radar tracks 256 targets simultaneously, at night, in bad weather, in total darkness. India sent Apaches straight to high-altitude air bases as a warning to China. China had moved its own fighter jets near the border, but those jets struggled to perform at that height. The Apaches didn't. The message was simple and clear. The Himalayas are not a barrier for India. They are home. India had a scary problem. China on one side, Pakistan on the other. Both with powerful air forces. Both could attack at the same time. India needed a jet that could beat both. The answer was the Rafale. India bought 36 of these jets from France, and they immediately changed everything. Here's why they're so special. India's battles with China happen in the Himalayas, extremely high mountains with thin air. Most fighter jets become weaker at that height. The Rafale doesn't. It fights at full power even at 15,000 feet, where Chinese jets start struggling. It can track 40 enemy planes at the same time. If an enemy missile is fired at it, the jet automatically protects itself. No action needed from the pilot. The plane thinks for itself. It flies at nearly twice the speed of sound. It can carry nuclear weapons. And here's the best part. India didn't just buy these jets and use them as they were. India added its own technology inside them, its own communication systems, its own weapons. These jets were customized specially for India. They are not French jets anymore. They are Indian jets, built to fight India's enemies in India's mountains on India's terms. 36 jets, guarding every corner of India's sky. After Operation Sindoor, India didn't need words. India sent both its aircraft carriers into the Arabian Sea at the same time. 2 floating cities, dozens of fighter jets, hundreds of missiles, thousands of sailors. Pakistan's Navy has no aircraft carriers. They stayed in port. INS Vikramaditya was once a rusting Soviet warship. India bought it, rebuilt it completely, and turned it into a powerful mobile air base that can carry 36 jets and go anywhere in the Indian Ocean. INS Vikrant is something even more special. Every piece of steel, made in India. Every design, drawn by Indian engineers. Every system, built by Indian hands. 45,000 tons, 262 meters long, 30 aircraft, 1,600 crew. This is a country that was once told it couldn't build its own things, that it should stay small and dependent on others. That country just built a city that sails at 28 knots. INS Vikrant is not just a warship, it is proof. Go back to February 1999. Pakistani soldiers, dressed as militants, secretly cross into Indian territory during winter. They climb to high mountain positions and wait. A shepherd spots them. The Indian Army confirms it. Operation Vijay begins. The challenge India faced was enormous. Enemy soldiers were sitting on top of freezing mountains, so high that our own soldiers needed days just to adjust to the thin air before they could fight. Tanks couldn't reach those heights. India needed a way to hit those positions hard, across a wide area, and fast. DRDO had already built the answer, the Pinaka rocket launcher. One vehicle carries 12 rockets and fires all of them in just 44 seconds. Put 6 of these vehicles together, and you get 72 rockets hitting the same area at once, enough to completely destroy 1 full square kilometer of enemy position. The latest version can hit targets 120 kilometers away, and it costs just 2.5 crore rupees per launcher. Incredibly affordable for what it does. India took back Tiger Hill on July 4, 1999. The war ended in victory. Every July 26th, India remembers Captain Vikram Batra and 500 brave soldiers who died on those frozen mountains. Now meet Brahmos, and everything changes again. Brahmos is the fastest cruise missile in active service anywhere in the world right now. It flies at Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. It uses satellite guidance and can hit a moving ship in the middle of the ocean with pinpoint accuracy. After the Pulwama attack in 2019, where 40 CRPF soldiers were killed by a suicide bomber, India's military leadership made a firm decision. A country facing India's threats cannot treat precision missiles as optional. They are a necessity. Brahmos became that necessity. Its range has grown from 290 kilometers to 800 kilometers today, with a 1,500-kilometer version being developed. Each missile costs around 34 crore rupees. India has already ordered 400 of the newer, upgraded version. When India used Brahmos against Pakistani military targets during Operation Sindoor, every single target was destroyed. Some of India's most important military technologies don't make the biggest explosions. They let soldiers survive. They let commanders see clearly. They let armies cross rivers in 20 minutes. The combat management system is India's answer to a nightmare. Simultaneous attack from multiple directions. On Indian warships, it functions like an AI co-pilot, detecting threats, classifying them, assigning the right weapon, and confirming the engagement decision, all from a single touchscreen interface. Radar, sonar, missiles, and guns. One screen. Cost, 100 to 500 crore rupees depending on the vessel. The NSG's post-2008 overhaul is a story the world should know better. After 4 terrorists held the Taj Hotel, killed 80 people, and took 240 hostage, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan went in and neutralized all 4, giving his life doing it. India responded with restructuring, new NSG hubs in 4 cities, and equipment that includes Black Hornet nano-drones small enough to fly into a room ahead of commandos, kamikaze loitering munitions, anti-drone systems, and remote bomb disposal vehicles. Another November 26th would meet a categorically different response. The DRDO anti-drone system was born from a painful night in June 2021, when drones attacked an Air Force station in Jammu. India's first documented drone strike on a military facility. India closed the gap within months. The system, now deployed nationwide, detects drones within seconds, can shoot them with a 7.62mm gun, and jam their signals simultaneously. From a compact 4x4 vehicle with 10-kilometer range. In Amritsar and Pathankot alone, 10 to 12 drones are caught every month. The modular bridge system lets India's armored units deploy a bridge capable of supporting 60-ton tanks in under 20 minutes. No heavy machinery required. For a tank commander facing a river crossing, that's not logistics. That's a tactical advantage. Cost, 20 crore per bridge. The Netra UAV weighs 1.5 kilograms and fits in a bag. No runway needed. It streams live HD video with night vision and thermal imaging. And in urban warfare, it goes into the building first. It sees. It reports. Then the humans follow, knowing exactly what they're walking into. The extreme cold weather clothing system saves lives not from bullets but from cold. At Siachen Glacier, 18,000 feet, minus 50 degrees Celsius, the environment itself is the enemy. DRDO's three-layer system keeps a soldier functional in those conditions. It weighs 4.5 kilograms. It costs 14,000 rupees, 3 times cheaper than the imported gear India used to depend on. There are Indian soldiers right now standing in 35 feet of snow at altitudes where most people can't breathe, in temperatures that would kill an unprotected person in minutes. They are warm, alert, ready, because someone spent years figuring out a 14,000 rupee jacket that works at minus 50. Some missions don't call for a supersonic missile screaming across the sky at Mach 3, lighting up every radar screen within 300 kilometers. Some missions call for something that stays low, treetop level, following the Earth's contour, arriving before anyone knew it was coming. That is the Naval. India's subsonic cruise missile is designed to evade radar entirely. 1,000-kilometer range, nuclear capable. At 15 to 20 crore rupees per unit, it is among the most cost-effective cruise missiles in the world for the capability it delivers. It doesn't announce itself. It just appears at the target. Together, Brahmos and nearby give India something no single missile strategy can: the choice for each mission between overwhelming speed and undetectable stealth. Then there is the LCH Prachan. Normal helicopters struggle above 15,000 feet. The air is too thin. Lift deteriorates. Weapons lose effectiveness. But India's borders aren't at sea level. The Himalayas are a permanent operational reality, and Siachen Glacier is where Indian soldiers are posted year-round. So India built a helicopter for exactly those heights. The LCH Prashant is the world's lightest attack helicopter certified for high-altitude combat, the only one confirmed capable of sustained operations at Himalayan altitudes. Speed, 280 kilometers per hour. Range, 700 kilometers. Armed with cannons, rockets, anti-tank missiles, and general-purpose missiles. Currently 45% indigenously built, with a 65% target in future production. In March 2025, India signed a 62,700 crore rupee contract with HAL for 156 of these helicopters, generating over 8,500 jobs building machines that protect Indian soldiers on Indian mountains. And that, perhaps, is where we leave you. Not with anger, not with triumphalism, but with something quieter and more enduring. The kind of awe that settles in slowly. The way light fills a room, not all at once, but until you can no longer remember the dark. India did not ask the world to notice. It rarely does. It simply kept building. Through the winters nobody filmed, through the summits nobody named, through the funerals nobody broadcast in prime time. It kept building until the building itself became undeniable. What you have watched tonight is not propaganda. It is not a recruitment video. It is not a celebration of war. It is a record of what a civilization looks like when it decides, finally, irreversibly, that it will never again be caught unprepared, never again be looted while it sleeps, never again apologize for surviving. The soldiers who made this possible did not do so for documentaries. They did not do it for applause from the outside world. They did it because somewhere in a Kashmir village, a family was sitting at a dinner table. Because somewhere in a Mumbai suburb, a child was walking home from school. Because somewhere in a pilgrimage convoy in Pahalgam, people were singing, not knowing, as they always do not know, how thin the line is between an ordinary afternoon and the last one. They held that line. They always have. And as the cameras stop and the screens go dark, what remains is not strategy or statistics or kill ratios. What remains is a question. Simple, human, and worth carrying with you. Who is holding the line where you live? And do they know that you know their name? Remember it. Say it. Don't let the silence swallow it. If this story stayed with you, subscribe. We make videos like this because these stories deserve to be told properly. No sensationalism, no shortcuts. Just deep, honest storytelling about the forces shaping our world. If you watched until the end, you already know this is different. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next one. And if this video moved you, share it with someone who needs to see it. That's how stories like this reach the people they're meant for. Subscribe. It's free, and it means everything. The measure of a nation is not only in how it builds its economy, but in whether it can defend the people who live inside it.